How you doing, everybody? Uh, so here we are. Um, oh wow, boy. Uh, hey, Bruce and William, and let's see what it's Geezer. Okay, everyone's talking about something. Okay, hey Rick. As I said, this message is held Geezer and okay, yeah, hey, Paul, Brian, Nino. Okay, it looks like we're not having a watch conversation right now. Maybe they're hoping to trade for a new Rolex, huh? Hey, Mark. Okie doke. Anyone want to trade a Patek for a pallet of TP? Hey, Sam. Um, Okay. And that's something. All the people used to take pictures of their watches over their BMW steering wheel now taking pictures for toilet paper. Hey, Forbin, how you doing, man? Uh my shirt matches the curtains. All right. Well, um, let's, if we may, if we can, let's talk about let's talk about good deals and watches. Okay. Um, One of the things I was hoping we could do is to just talk about, like what is a good deal on a watch, and do you always know if you got a good deal until much later on? All right, let me give you an example. Uh, when I got my FP Joint resonance, I thought it was okay. It wasn't the best deal, but it was a pretty decent deal. And I didn't think much about it. What I wanted was a resonance watch, and the later on, the thing shot up in price that it's really insane. It went from uh, about right around 30 up to 60, and I is that a good deal? Well, it's to me. It is in one sense, but not in another. Now, on the other hand, if you paid, let's say, sort of an amount that would be considered to be pretty average on a deal, but you end up really, really liking the watch a lot, that's a good deal too. Hey, Junior, Caliber, how's it going, man? uh, so anyway, Stifle, best watch deal was 2.5 years ago for 2000 Rolex Explorer Polar. Very good. Sounds like a good deal. Well, that's another thing too. If you know, it, I don't know to what extent, myself included, on some of the buys that I had that I think were really good, that were good because I got them for a great price. If I get a watch for a great price and it spends all of its time in my case, yeah, is that really a good deal? So let's talk about good deals. Hi, Eddie. Um, hey, Mezzine 44. Okay, Steve, how's it going? Okay, MP Maxplanation. Schools closed in Saxony. Will Corona bring us a good watch deals? Saxony, Germany. That's in the Dresden, and is um, Glashütte in Saxony too. Hey, Crappy. Hi, Carl. Hi, Seth Morley. Um, Sam, I saw a VNC Patrimony listed on eBay for $3,000 about a year ago. Sold in about 30 seconds. I'm not surprised. You know, Federico had a FP Jorn that he had up there. He put it in for a low price. I don't know who bought it, but man, I tell you, it went pretty quickly. Um, I consider my bomb in Mercier Hampton under 1K and Volcano automatic at 1K good money for the value. Yeah, Nino, those are the kinds of things. That's what I consider a good deal. Uh, a watch you like, you're gonna. I mean, and it's worth it to you. I got a double good deal. I got my. I keep bringing it up. I won't bring it up now. My regulator, my $200 Chinese regulator. I love it. And it. I wanted a regulator to sort of check off a regulator box. I don't know. One of sort of a one of those collector things. Hey, Captain Zed. Anyway, Arabe Felix, Al, how you doing? Um, this kind of stuff. Okay, so why are we talking about good deals? We're talking about how do we get a good deal, and how do we know ahead of time that it's a good deal? Sometimes, like I said, it's after the fact. You end up with a good a red. Me and the curtains. Um, we end up with a good deal, like I said, retrospectively, we end up liking a watch a lot more. So what do we need to really get a good deal on a watch? Okay, Captain said the best deal is buying a watch you love for less than you expected and not giving a flying F about what anybody else thinks. Yeah, that all you get. I don't care what anybody else thinks. I sure don't. I mean, if I like a watch, also too, I found out that my watches develop personalities that I probably give to them to some extent. Um, the Let me see. Most used JLCs are amazing deals. Sam, I think you're right. Again, a JLC. My wife has a JLC, and on my list is one too. The True Second, and if I wear it and enjoy it, then it's great. Hey, Longshoreman and Robert, and let's see. Hey, Mark, you made it. Um, Okay, let's see some other wisdom that you guys have. My best deal was a Beauvais 1930. You know, I my Beauvais 1930 is one that it's one of those things that sort of when it comes up in the rotation and stuff that I'm always surprised. Oh boy, I got this thing with a bow and crown lugs on and stuff. Okay, Dare Stifle. Let's see what I got a black dial ceramic Daytona at retail from my AD last year after only buying three other sports model Rolex watches from them the previous year. That's probably the jackpot of good deals for me. Okay, all right. Um, Getting great mileage from my Christian Van Sant automatic under $100. Okay. Hey, Seabig. Um, Do you make lowball offers to multiple watches you like and wait and see which one pans out? I've done that before. That was how I got um, my overseas, my Vacheron. Except it wasn't. It was like I came down. I didn't know whether I wanted a what was it? Let's see. This is about some number of years ago. Whether I wanted a Royal Oak or an overseas. Those were my two choices. So there were two different dealers, and I gave the same offer to both of them. One of them told me to go jump in a lake, and the other one took it. So that was the way it worked out. Um, I don't know, Forbin. How about you? Have you ever tried that out and to see which one pans out? Sometimes, with a if they both panned out, I'd be in trouble. If I got the guy with the RO said, "Okay, I'm good," I'd have to come up with double the money. Yeah, you got to be careful about that. I think because if you have if you make the same offer to two different places and they both accept it, I don't know that to me is sort of gets a little tricky. Let's see. Best deal is getting 75 to 85% off APPF Cartier UN at the dealer at close. Yeah, Al, that's another thing. If you know a dealer and a dealer's shutting down and just wants to get rid of the inventory, that would be a good time for it. Um, wow. Hey Sam, you got a little Tiffany watch. They had a Tiffany watch that I just loved called I think it was called East West or something like that. They had a men's version and a women's version. Just a cool looking watch. And the thing I didn't like about it, I don't know if it was an ETA or some other mystery movement. That always drives me crazy. Okay, Mark. Oh, Mark, you got a Henry double hairspray. Those are great deals. Those are that was one of my best deals for that because they're not popular, and so what? I forgot who said that. Just don't care what other people think, and if you spend some time learning about watches, you're going to get a lot of things that other people aren't too happy about. So what? It's your money, your watch. They can go jump on a lake. Um, I just bought my first luxury watch, picking it up tomorrow. I'll show it to you on Monday. Hope you can watch. Okay, Crappy, I will. I'll be sure to, send out a reminder on that, okay? Williams, I can only wear, let's see, something. I suppose buying a Kermit for 7K a few years back was a good move. Well, Captain said, financially it may have been, but do you like your Kermit? That's the big thing. Hey, Tennessee, how you doing, man? I was worried about Mike getting blown away by that hurricane, but he's okay. No, the tornado, I mean, a while back. Let's see. Rick, take a look at FPJ calendar I posted in High Horology Land today. Screaming deal. One of only 10 made. Okay. All right. That's good to know. Is there any way you can find out how much the watch costs to make? Oh, see, that's the thing. There's so much involved in it. Let's say that you have a company that developed a good movement, let's say 10 years ago, and they're still using the same movement today. It's a good movement, but after 10 years, it doesn't cost them as much because the developmental cost and everything else has been taken care of. So that's sort of that's sort of a funny kind of thing. The other thing about it is that if you have like a lot of these, like you take for example, a Stefan Kadoki, um, his stuff is, you get a pretty simple watch with his movement and so forth, but he put in a lot of special labor and skill and so forth. So it's hard to say. Wow, Steve, hang on, I'm going to show that. I don't know why that was hidden. Uh, Steve Kim had a question. He's got an offer on an CS, one of these. This is what this is, and for what is it, 28K? Uh, they've been going up. The blues have been going through the ceiling, now up to 50K. So. But the thing about a CS, I think, or actually any watch, it for the most part, they're not investments. I don't see them that way. They can be in some respects. If you're treating them like the stock market, good luck. It's really hard if I buy a watch, let's say for $15,000, and tomorrow I find the same one for 10. I don't think I think I got screwed. Well, I didn't. That's just what happens. That you never know, or vice versa. When I got my watch, they were certain ones were of super good deals. Others have kept their price, and others have gone down. But not too many. Most of them, depending on when I got them, stayed pretty much the same. Audemars Piguet, Millenary, Maserati Automatic, okie doke, pre-owned, Nino. Let's see what's that. Nino's got a one there. What do you think of that? About 8,000, right? For that. That sounds that sounds okay. All right. It doesn't sound great because, if you like a millenary, because the millenaries are unusual, and if you like them, and I do like them. Uh, you know, that sounds halfway decent to me. Take a look at the other ones, Dano. And anyway, they put down 7,799, offer 6,500. See what happens. Okay, hola, Bill. PSK 31. Tissot Powermatic 80 chronometers. Woo, wow, 70% off retail. That sounds like a good buy. It was a fave for years, but the vintage root beer was always my fave Rolex. Okay, yeah, I like those root beers too. That's another one. There's so many different watches I like. I'm not a fanboy of certain brands that other people are, but that doesn't mean I don't like certain or several of the watches. Um, the more I keep finding more Rolexes I like, even though I'm not. There are a lot of things about Rolex that I that don't grab me. Okay, I'll put it that way. But there are a lot of them that I really like. Harbring did a good lecture at HSY some months ago and addressed manufacturing costs. Okay, Eddie, that's a good point to make. Yeah, they, there was another one too, and it was an article about Marco Lang and about his leaving Langenheim, his namesake. And that was another good one. You can find it. I think it's sort of like, I think it's a 2019 article or something, even 2020. But somebody interviewed him, and he was sort of starting over again, and he was very upfront about that. The cost. See, the cost. To me, they're very hard to judge. Obviously, if you have one person making a few watches and they have to spend a lot of time on them. If you look up Gronfeld, he talks about the amount of time that it takes to make one of their watches and how their price is based on that kind of work. On the other hand, what they knock out, 50,000 Patek Philippe's a year, and and 1.4 million Rolexes. They don't take quite as long. Oh, yeah. Hey, Al, you're gonna have to reword that your question to CBIG, okay? Because it got kicked out. Okay, doke. Let's see what's going on here. Oh boy, you guys, geezer, 24. See, I don't think legacy is really an issue with FPJ. Unlike many independents, he's built a very strong bang with legacy plans. Plus, FPJ is now financially backed by Chanel. So, yeah. Well, have you guys ever? There was a video that he made. I don't know if you guys saw it. It was really great in sort of a bizarre way. He's up there talking. He looks like death warmed over, and he's talking about his when he's gone, his his watches are going to shoot up in value, and he looked like that your increase in value is imminent. They must have used gray paint for makeup on him in that video, but it's really funny. He's saying, "Well, you better get it while the getting's good." So I don't know. Hey, Truth Fears Guilty, Brian. How you doing, everybody? Okay, let's see what you got. Paul, I picked up a new Tudor Heritage Advisor from an AD this year for 3,000 quid. List price is 46.50. Interesting watch with the built-in alarm clock. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, sometimes one of the really great deals I got was from an AD. I mean, a lot of times it sounds, hey, Orange Hand, it sounds like, oh, I don't like ADs. That's not true. The thing is that if I can get a good deal from an AD, I'll get it, or I'll get it from Louis, you know, the guy on 47th Street who's only open at special times during the day. Um, there are all kinds of places and things to get good buys. And again, the whole idea, the whole concept of a gray market, you know, I think it's a secondary market because manufacturers, ADs, everybody else knows that without those guys, they'd be screwed. And here's why: they can't sell a watch. They've got a whole, let's say, Patek Philippe makes something that nobody likes. Okay, so and they figure it's going to be a big hit. They ordered a big load of them. They got them on their shelves. They can't sell them. What are they going to do? They can't use them for doorstops. Well, they can, but what they want to do is that they go to the secondary market. So it's not a to call it a gray market. I think is a little misleading. Um, okay, see, I picked up. Okay, that see bargain wise buying secondhand. I'm always suspicious when seller says a watch was serviced and generalizes that it runs great. You ever bought a lemon that seemed a great deal? No, but that may happen. That could happen. It's like I did buy a watch. I got a great deal on it. It took me about a year to negotiate the price I wanted on it, and it runs slow, but I like it. I don't care. It doesn't run that slow. It's just a little slower than you know. Maybe it's 2 or 3 minutes a day that it's off, and whenever I wear it, I make sure it's on the right time. Check it with my um, iPhone. You know, Okay, what else you got? How do you make up your mind when you find great deals on 5 watches you love? Yeah, that happens to me a lot, Mark. I don't know. That's a good question. It's I don't know. You get your priorities set, and you say, okay, this is what I want, and then you see something else, something shiny going on. This happens to me all the time, and I suppose what you got to do is. Oh, I swear to God, you either there's a whole lot of luck. I mean, you can filter and filter and filter and find a watch you want to buy. But man, there's so many thieves and rascals out there. You just don't know. Who was it that mentioned? Yeah, Forbin on somebody says that they have their watch serviced and so forth. Yeah, how do you know for sure? One thing I think you can do when I had my two FP's yarn service, I got sort of like a receipt. I didn't get a receipt, but they emailed me this thing with a price and everything on it like that. And somebody says, "Hey, how do I know you had a service?" I say, well, just send me something that shows that it's done. Someone can if they got a receipt, you can take your mobile phone and take a picture of it and email it to them. That's what I do anyway. Uh, when I got my Patek Philippe, I had to go right to the Patek Philippe headquarters in Switzerland, and it cost me 125 Swiss francs for the archives on it. Man, I tell you, it seemed like it took a long time. Maybe it took 2 or 3 months. I forgot how long it was. They sent it to me. It was beautiful. It was really great. And so now, if I want to sell that watch, what I can do is simply say, take a picture of the paperwork and say, here it is. Do I enjoy my CS Geezer? I love my CS. Here it is now. Why do I like it? It's got a personality. It doesn't like to be left alone. The other day, I didn't wind it up all the way. I was doing something. I forgot what it was. I'll wind it up and use it for a little while. Doesn't, and then I put it back in the case, and it got mad at me and quit. And so I had to wind it all the way up and then wear it because it likes to be worn. You know, I mean, I think in a strange way, because we're all nuts if we're watch collectors. I swear my watches have personalities. There's certain things about them, and they get mad at me if I don't do certain things, or they get lonely if I don't wear them. Enough. I don't know. Um, hey, Dr. A and B. Okay, a Rolex GMT Pepsi Jubilee. That sounds good. My best deal on watch was the one my wife bought me from Paul M. That's an interesting thing. Uh, my favorite watches, I've got, I was thinking about that the other day. I said, well, what are my favorite watches? And these are the ones that I like to wear the most. But then whenever I sort of settle on, let's see what I'll call the top three, the three I like to wear the most, um, these other ones I love wearing too. So it's sort of a weird thing. Uh, I know that this is Seth Morley. I know that a watch must be revised every 5 years according to the brand, but do you mean by revised? Oh, okay. I mean the watch company comes out with a new model. Is that what you mean? But when I buy it new, how do I know how many years it's been unsold in the store? I tell you what you can do. You can find out when that particular model was made and sort of try to figure it out that way. And then when they quit making a model, um, the model that I just got, my most recent purchase that I just love is I got the Endeavor Center Seconds with the 7-day. Now I think they quit making that, and I think now the Endeavor not the 7-day, but the Endeavor 7 seconds. Center seconds. Yeah, when I got last 7 seconds, then it quit. The center seconds, they changed it. And so now the Endeavor 7 center seconds is an automatic. So that's something I think you can get a lot of good buys that way, is when there's a change of model and everyone wants a new model. And so they're going to have to drop the price of the old model. And I don't mind that at all. Or sometimes there'll be a model that they made, and all kinds of things happen, and they never make it again. My Harry Winston Premier by retrograde, man, that thing is that thing shot way up in price. They quit making it. Gerard Perregaux did the movement. Agenhor did the retrograde, and they don't make them anymore. They hadn't made them for a long time, and from what I understand from Swatch, who bought them, they this one guy told me at Harry Winston that they're only going to put blunt pawn movements in it from now on. Okay, Dr. A and B, VC will be hit hard because of what happened in China. Then it would be a great opportunity to buy overseas dual time. That's true. I think you're right. I think, yeah, this is another thing too. With the pandemic that we have, and I don't know, that may knock a lot of things. I mean, not just China, everywhere. Oh, tell you though. Oh, by the way, Andreas, how you doing, man? The I was talking to Leo, who runs Cellini's in New York. Now, the thing about Cellini's, that's if you're ever in New York, a place you really got to visit. And leave your credit card and your wallet with your wife. They have all of these great watches. And I was talking to him. I said, is this going to impact you? And he said he didn't think so, because most of his clients were American. And so they weren't, there wasn't too much. There were probably some overseas shipment. But he says most of his shipments are in the US. And if people want a certain watch, let's say they want a Gronfeld, and they call Cellini's, and he talks to them, and really that kind of thing, as opposed to, you make a deal over through Chrono 24 or something like that. Okay, so let's see what else you guys are up to. Um, oh, you like, yeah. Thank you. This is my CS who has an attitude, right? Uh, are vintage watches great deals? Most vintage of modern brands are comparatively affordable. Yeah, Sam, they are. Oh boy, I've got a couple vintage. I don't have too many vintage. The kind of watches I like are probably well, obviously I mean the ones that I like that I can afford. Let me put that in. Are are ones that are really good watches. They're well made. They have a great movement in it, and they're not too popular, which usually brings the price down. Parmigiani is certainly one brand with those watches. And how many watches today do you have a living um, watchmaker with who are doing it? You have Michel Parmigiani. You have um, uh, Stephen Grube. You have who else? FP Jorn, Kerry Voot and Lonan. You have a handful of them, but not for a really good price. That's one thing I like. Parmigiani, Moser. I think H Moser is they're doing some smart things. I think, and but they are just super great watches. And if I can get one at a good price, and I can, then get them. How do you feel about the watch micro brands these days? Any interest from you? Yeah, Travis, man, when you talk about a micro brand, usually you're talking about there are two kinds of micro brands. I mean, in general categories, you have guys like Stefan Kadoki, who's making his own movements, makes his own watches, and so forth. And that's one kind, and he's the AHCI group of independent, really good watchmakers. And then you have some guys that are putting have well, there's all kinds of levels of them. Some of them would be somebody like me would throws in a movement and buys a case and puts them all together and give them to the relatives. uh, and there are some out there like that. So I think you sort of have a wide range there of that. One of the ones I do like is Ophion, because they're honest for one thing, and they did some interesting stuff with the movement. They did interesting stuff with the cases. They did interesting stuff with everything, and and they have a good price for it. To me, it's really a great deal on that kind and their watches. On the other hand, though, but the movement I think was sort of pulled out from Teletime, one of theirs that they had, and then they had it redone and stuff, and that's okay. I don't know. It's a mixed bag with the micro brands. Some are great, and someday, I tell you, like when FP Jorn started, what 1999. Yeah, you picked up his one of his watches for a pretty good price, and but we don't know who's going to be that way in the future. If you look at Harboring too, and done by Richard Harboring, that's another example of a living watchmaker. Man, I tell you, those are great buys and they're great watches, but they're not like the only people that like them are the people who own them. I'll put it that way. Actually, I think to me they're almost like a collector's dream watch because they're relatively low price, they're right around 5,000, I think now, or something like that for a Felix. I don't know. Um, Truthers, see what do you got? See, then I bought a Seiko quartz. Okay, you got a Seiko quartz. Let's leave the quartzes aside. I have my my Rado quartz that I got what 40, 50 years ago, and it's still keep on ticking. Okay, let's see. Altier Millesimi is probably the most interesting of the good micro brands. Yeah, but why? Why are they good? Well, uh, beside having Benjamin gave them that god awful name that I can't pronounce, but here's why I think they're good. They use really good movements. They use Vaucher movements. They may have some other ones too, but they tell you what they are. You know what you're getting. You know who's making the case. You know who's doing all of the parts for it. And what they're doing is that they're trying to provide a really excellent watch. They're not high horology, but they have everything in high horology, I'll say, except for the finishing. And I don't know whether how important that is. I mean, this is something else I think that as collectors we've got to rethink this whole notion of high horology. And the reason for it is that we weren't the ones who developed it. Um, oh boy. Okay. What happens if you need parts for your watch you purchase from a micro brand and they go out of business? Well, first of all, you got to assume they're going to go out of business because most watch companies do. Breguet went out of business at one time. Um, you know, take really good care of your watches. Some micro brands they'll put together a beautiful watch. Keller or something. I can't pronounce his name correctly. I think Stefan Keller or something like that. He makes these beautiful, really beautiful watches, and he does. I mean, he takes he really does a lot of stuff with them, and then he uses a much finished, beautifully finished 65, 64. What are they? See, ETA 64, uh, 34. Anyway, the doggone, I forgot the numbers on them now. 6498. Yeah, that's it. He uses the 6498 ETA 6498. Unitas. Great movement, but most of them are pretty much plain vanilla unfinished. He finishes those up beautifully, puts together a beautiful case. Now, if you want to get a part for it, not a problem because it's an ETA. And you'll find a lot of others like that. They'll have an ETA, they'll have a Soprod, they'll have a Vasseur, depending on what they are. The guys who make them themselves have their very own. Of that may be something else. Travis Vasseur movement with explanation points in all caps. There's a drama queen among us. Okay, let's see. What else you got? John P. Your watch is worth $79.99. Oh, okay, John P. Who are you talking to? What a comment. Hi, Ian. Hi, Ian. How you doing, man? Ian and I were discussing something else. Glad to see you. Um, Okay, let's see. PF made his name by fixing micro brand watches before making his own. No. No, 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 no. Wait a minute. Who are you talking about? PF. PF. I'm not sure. Arabia. Who are you talking about there? Um, boy. If you take for example, I was thinking of Parmigiani Fleurier. If that's what you're talking about, he it wasn't he was what he was doing. He was working for Sandoz, and Sandoz had somebody working on restoration, and all of your really top-notch watchmakers, every one of them worked extensively in restoration, including F.P. Journe. He worked at his uncle's shop. And Parmigiani, I mean, these were fantastic watches that Michel Parmigiani worked on. The Sandoz was so impressed that they said, "Hey, we're going to watch your own watch company," and they did. And classic car market. Okay, don't care about classic cars. Do you think F.P. Journe and H. Moser could go out of business also? If you're going to worry about that, here's what you should do, Mark. Get a Rolex. All right. You don't have to. just get a Rolex. You get your money back if you buy it. They're going to be making parts, and don't even think about anything else. I know a lot of watch collectors who do exactly that. What you want is that if you're asking about something interesting, about something really, really fantastic in horology, then you ask about FP Journe and Moser, and they don't care if they go out of business because you'll have a watch by someone who's just not available to anybody else anymore. Parmigiani, okay. Let's see. Parmigiani, Journe, Dufour, all started in restoration. You're right. It's exactly right. They all started in restoration. So did Smith. Roger Smith was doing restorations too. Journey is Chanel. They would maintain the legacy. FP Journe. Yeah, they probably would. See, what the thing is, I guess, if you bought a Breguet from Abraham Breguet, his company went out of business. It did at one time, and it was saved by somebody else. If you look at a Monet today, they have nothing to do in terms of the legacy. The Monets who invented the first chronograph isn't the kind of Monets you're getting today, or Moets, is it? One of the two, I don't know. But okay, Chanel only. See, Ludwig. Okay, what about Ludwig Oeschlen? That's sort of an interesting thing because they may be quitting. I don't know if they're going to make those watches anymore. But if you have one, you're going to have a really cool watch. Getting the parts for it, that may not be so easy. It may not be possible at all. In fact, if you get one and it breaks, your stays broke. Okay. That's like I said, there's certain watches, if all you want is to buy a watch, keep it for the rest of your life and not have to worry about anything happening to the company, probably Rolex would be your best bet, I think. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I think. Rick, hey, Rick, Chanel will own 100% at his death. Yeah, good point, Rick. Journe and Dufour both said that in the 80s, 90s, restoration often it's the only place you could work on very complex movements. You're right. Good point, NS something. That's exactly right. Forbin, Monet, Manet, Tippy Tippy Day Day. Okay, guys. All right. Well, my time is up. It's been up for about 15 minutes, but I got started just a little late. Anyway, thanks everybody for coming, and take care. And on tomorrow, we'll have another watch review I think you're going to find interesting. Hope to see you then. Bye for now.